You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
Yes, y'all. Time once again for another ResultsLeader.fm. And we're going to jump into this interview with Mr. Chris Garrison. He's a real estate investor, serial entrepreneur, professional team builder. And we're going to talk about his journey, the ups and downs, and everything that he has done to get results. Let's jump in. All right, Chris, welcome to the show. Are you ready to rock this thing?
Man, yeah, JR, I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's start with a simple win for our listeners. What book have you given most as a gift?
That's going to be Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
What do you like about that one? He's got several hits, that guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of those popular authors. Most folks are going to say Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I actually got exposure to that mentality growing up with an entrepreneurial father. So what really shook me to my core is after I'd started my own company and I read that book and it said, you're an owner operator until you can leave the company and the company will stay steady or increase. And it won't fall out because you're not there. And at that point, I realized I didn't have a business, although in my head, I thought I'd built a business. So I began that journey of building a business, hiring business coaches and getting trained up so that I could say, yes, I do have a business and I can have a life away from it.
Tell me a story of how an apparent failure set you up for later success.
So I've had many of them, but I would say probably a failure. You know, with the failure, it lets you know where you don't want to be. And when I first got married at 20, I had 10 years of marriage, got my divorce at 30. And that whole 10 years, I realized that we had different viewpoints on finance, on lifestyle, and somewhat on belief. So that failure of that marriage really set me up on success for my next marriage. And that projected me in success into my business and every other avenue, because once I got my home place whole, I realized what I wanted, what I didn't want, and I set those expectations up front. So that's probably the biggest takeaway of that failure is get those expectations set up front. Then you don't have to readjust later. You've heard the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's kind of the philosophy I go by with that.
There's people out there that think their partner is separate. Their partner doesn't matter to their success. What would you say to those people?
Absolutely 100% wrong. At least for me, because if I can't go home and have rest, if I can't go home and have agreement, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you don't clock in at 8 and leave at 5. Even if I'm at the house, my mind is still on work and how to progress and how to grow and achieve and build empires. So if they're not on the same page, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Now, I want to just say, I agree, because my wife is in my business with me, as you know, and there's just no way I would have any success whatsoever without her. So I'm in the same camp as you. I want to make that clear, and I want her to hear that just in case. I don't want to get in trouble. All right. Moving on. What is the most worthwhile investment you have ever made?
Oh man, plugging into masterminds and getting exposure to people that are doing bigger and better things than I am, not being the smartest person in the room when you get in those masterminds. So I made my first investment to a real estate mastermind because that was the direction that I wanted to go in business. This was a little over a year ago. And that was my first mastermind to invest in. Cost me a couple of grand and then $1,000 per month. I in that same time, hired business coaches that up front was 10 grand and 3,000 a month. So the investment on yourself and getting in the room with other people so that you can be exposed to more is by far the best investment and the first investment that you should make in yourself.
In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Confidence. And that was gained from small achievements like, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning at 5, and I got up in the morning at 5. I'm going to go to the gym and work out, and I went to the gym and worked out. Those little achievements really built that level of confidence, which carried over into every aspect of my life.
What are some bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Get the plan together before you start. Don't go into debt to make it happen. Those are probably the two biggest. And that's right the opposite of what I've seen with my success. You've heard the saying, fake it till you make it. And I honestly feel like that has been my life because I grab some knowledge, but I don't really know what is about to hit me when I start the process. And as I start the process, I just begin to pivot and adjust and seek out more knowledge, new knowledge to help me get over that obstacle. And then leveraging debt has been a game changer for me. I remember my father told me, he said, never go into debt on anything except for the roof over your head if you have to do it that way. And I would not be at the place I am today in business if I had not leveraged debt and taken out a loan on a piece of equipment and then taken out a loan on, as I moved into real estate, on the real estate, because it takes too long to wash that money over and over again. So when you can pull from other resources, you've got scalability.
Now we're going to talk about results. The name of the show is Results Leader, as you know. And my question to you is, why do results matter?
Why would you put the effort forth without wanting the results? Without results, where's the achievement? I find that my happiness, my well-being mentally comes after I've achieved. And those results are the proof in the pudding. That's the proof that I have made it to where I was trying to go. Results are everything. That's if you don't have results, how do you measure yourself in your process of life journey?
You said something interesting there. My well-being comes after I've achieved, but I'm wondering what happens after you achieved?
Well, the bar gets moved up. So as you hit those benchmarks and you're constantly moving the bar up again, because it's, and I don't know if everyone carries that mentality, but I know for me personally, when I see growth happening in my life, when I'm taking on new information and I see progress and then I hit those achievements, that's like a shot of adrenaline for me. It's like taking a B12 times 10. And that just puts me in such a happy, just overzealous mood. And then when I have those days where I don't see growth or I don't see achievement, those are the toughest days for me. So then I have to move over to what I'm grateful for to knock that mentality out. Once I get into that attitude of gratitude, then I can move back into growing.
In the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for you, for your clients, for your partners?
Marketing, baby. Marketing and branding. Listen, if they don't know you're available, they don't know to ask for you. And that right there, I would tell anybody, whether you own your own business, whether you're a W-2 employee, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, you need to be telling people what you do, because there's other people that want to know about the information and experience that you have. And if they know about it, then they can ask you, and then growth happens.
Now, you said marketing and branding. How'd you figure that out? Because I know when I got into business, I didn't know anything about that. And it was just like, well, now what? So how'd you figure it out? And what are some moves that you made to get the marketing and branding exposure so that you'd become successful?
So, well, it goes back to influence. I hopped on YouTube University and got exposure to a man named Grant Cardone. We'll have to let this phone stop. Sorry about that, JR. There we go. All right. His biggest preach was brand yourself, market yourself, and utilize social media because it's a free platform. So what I did is I began to put out video content, and I would have great visual content in the background with my face in the forefront. And I would always state my name and my company name. That way I was branding it and myself because I knew I wouldn't just be this one facet of this business model. Then I just watched the engagement. If I got good engagement with that post, then I tried to recreate that post over and over again. And that has definitely been one of the biggest plays in my success in business, is because I utilize such a free platform like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I've really not capitalized on YouTube like I need to, but yeah, they're out there. They're free. Why not use them?
All right, I know you were getting into that, and we were just about to get into my favorite part where we talk about results. But first, I want to ask you a question. Are you picking up what we're laying down on this show? Are you digging what we are sharing? If you are, why not make yourself a hero today and share this with somebody who can use it? Put this out on your social media channels. #ResultsLeaderFM. I'll be out there looking for you, and I'll make sure to boost it up too when I see you. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. Let's talk about your business. What area of your business would you like better results?
Team building. I think that's probably the most common thing you'll hear from any entrepreneur is finding the right people for the right seats and then keeping them incentivized so that they stay engaged and put forth their best effort on a daily basis. So I try to plug into as many resources as I can. That's why I have business coaching. That's something that gets talked about often in these masterminds that I attend. And yeah, man, the team building aspect of it, the hiring, firing, and just keeping them incentivized is most definitely one of the biggest hurdles.
What results are you most proud of?
Well, yeah, it's funny you asked that because that goes right back to that previous question. I'm most proud of the culture that I've built for my team. And I get that gratification from them often. They say, man, this is one of the best companies I've ever worked for. You're one of the best bosses that I've ever worked for. And that's validation that I'm doing something right. We're always learning, but the fact that we've got a company full of, I've got 15 team members, and the fact that all 15 of them feel that way and brag to their friends and family and anyone else that's looking for a job, hey, you should go put an application in. If they think they'll be a good fit, they'll mention that.
They got to protect that culture, don't they?
That's right. That's right.
Any parting thoughts you'd like to share with the results leaders who are listening to us right now?
Man, it all starts with mindset and influence. And if you get your mind right and you get the right influence, then you begin to build from there with consistency, with confidence. And at that point, you will start seeing a domino effect. It starts small, and before you know it, a year, 2 year, 3, 5 years down the road, you see a massive change in your life for the positive if you put the right influences in your life.
Chris, before we wrap up, I know people are going to want more from you. So where can they go?
So they go on Facebook to the Facebook group, Bigger Vision. And they can also find me on the web at www.mybiggervision.com.
Excellent. We will have links to Facebook and to the website, and soon the podcast coming up. So thank you, Chris, for hanging out with us and sharing your insights. Thank you, Results Leaders, for tuning in. Another one is in the can. That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard. We'll catch you on the next one.
This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.